for the sake of an introduction, the first question that we're asking everyone right now in this kind of new state of affairs is, what world are you living in now?
Well, thank you very much for welcoming me. I'm glad to discussing this with you. Well, I'm living in a strange world. You can see it from my background, actually. The reason maybe for this background is that I feel kind of naked today in this world, or maybe I feel living in a naked world. This might be the reason for me to experience today a kind of, I'd say, beautiful paradox that on the one hand, I'm confined, disconnected from any possible physical experience to the outside world. So I've never been able to actually read that much. And at the very same time, I feel naked because I guess I never experienced the real world with such acute intensity. Meaning that I feel in a way that all of the stories and the belief that we are used to dress ourselves with are being burnt with this new reality. And it actually kind of recalls to me a sentence that I love of the great sci-fi author Philip K. Dick, who said, that reality is that which, when you stop believing in it, doesn't go away. And to me, it's exactly that. It's like, for so long, we've been trying to add fictions over fictions to try and explain a reality that felt too weak for us humans. And now this reality, the only one, the real, let's say, with a big R, is kind of humiliating us because it has more imagination than we have. Who could have imagined that some guy eating a pangolin would put a third of the world basically stopped at their own home? The fictions that we've been telling each other with technology, solutionism for the past years is actually opening up as a lie too, when we see that we can basically not solve this problem. All that we can do at most is measure it. Same for economics, like I see it every day from different calls, etc., discussing with friends and economist pals in macroeconomics and stuff, in which we say, okay, we should have added these questions, this model on pandemics, but we had the same conversation 10 years ago, adding financial models to it, meaning that we cannot grasp this complex reality that every time comes back to us with something bigger than our own imagination. And actually it goes the same way whether you would be neoliberal, believing that your models would be perfect as the Homo economicus is the only one ruling, and on the other side, collectivist imagination, neo-communism is actually at the same point, pretty, out of the way itself in explaining this. And all of the matter of degrowth, etc. I'm not sure they're actually that relevant now. When you see that when our human world stops, in the end, we had only a 5.5 degrowth of carbon emission in the past few months, just due to this confinement. Meaning that all of the world we created is actually our responsibility for sure, but it's just not about stopping it or getting away from it as human beings that will change everything. So I guess in the end, the crisis I feel I'm living in is a crisis of imagination. The fact that we cannot understand the world we are living in through the past fiction that helped build it. And this idea of humiliation, of feeling really naked in this complex world, having just the reality as it is, and not virtual, not alternative, neither fiction, is to me really interesting because it's kind of a moment in which all of us experiencing the same exact reality calls for something new that is not just post everything, like post-capitalism, post-reality, etc., but just something that we have to define altogether.
We looked at a kind of a first question, kind of a first thought, which comes from the Bruno Latour questionnaire is, can you name a suspended activity that you would like to see not coming back? I mean, this was something we're all asking ourselves now because, it's a kind of an interesting way to see a future that's very uncertain.
Well, yeah, I'd say hairdressers and baseball. Maybe hairdressers because I really like the way everyone is looking a bit wild and savage in the streets right now. I like how it basically gets back to the fact that we're just those kind of beautiful but ugly animals at the same time. And baseball because I don't get the rules and it's really annoying. Maybe on a more serious note, I'd say that what I've personally experienced in the past months that is really inspiring to me for the future is that I feel that I've been forced, and I loved to be forced to do it actually, but to keep moving every time physically. I mean, to keep traveling, to be everywhere at the same time, trying to be ubiquitous, but physically, which is impossible. And I think obviously most of us now have the chance to connect like we are doing right now, from my beach over here to your places. And I really like the fact that in the end, we might discover a right to immobility. The fact that we don't have to move always, we don't have to be physically somewhere else. And maybe this limit that we set to ourselves of ubiquity is actually achieved by not moving, what we're doing right now. And I definitely think that it's a matter of freedom in a way to have this right. And it's strange to me because I never experienced it before and I never thought of it. But I guess I felt so much free being able to basically drive away, taking the train or fly, etc. And now that I feel it's actually pretty great conversations that we're having, taking the time to go into deeper meaning is something that is definitely related to the fact that we are staying at some place. So yeah, I'd say a right to immobility, the fact that we might not be moving for everything because we can, doesn't mean that we should.
Did you ever make a calculation of the time you were spending alone while traveling? And how do you feel it now? Or do you feel that you have to feel it? Or is it time that you are now winning or time that you are losing?
It's really interesting. I'm afraid that for the past 3 years, I might have been traveling for a fifth of my time. And most of the time alone, let's say half of the time. And at some point, moving itself was a place I lived in, whether it be through train or etc. I kind of felt it was a new home to me. Truth is that in a way, it took me away from thinking to difficult things because moving physically was also moving mentally. And as soon as I would get into a difficult position of thinking because I couldn't understand something, I would go away. And I think I escaped too much in the past 3 years. And now I'm stuck with what I need to solve.
Thank you. That's what the same way than what I feel, of course.